there, and welcome to our lesson on themes. So these are going to be looking at themes in Remember the Titans. The lesson objective for today is to recap what themes are, to look at some themes in the text, and to try and think about some examples or scenes that show the themes in the text. So what you have in your OneNote is a range of resources from the slide that you're going to then fill in. So hopefully that should be easy to follow along with while you go through this video. You can either listen to this and then do the work or pause or whatever kind of suits how you're going. So firstly, I know there's some blanks on your screen to fill in. So we're going to recap what is a theme. So when it comes to a theme, when we study a text, a theme is an idea or a concept that runs through the text. So they tend to be a sentence long. An idea is one, maybe two words, but a theme is more of like a sentence. Sometimes the easiest way to think about a theme is they're like a lesson that you get from the text. That's a way of thinking about it that might make it a little bit easier for you. There's something that ultimately, when we notice them in a text and then notice them in the events and the actions that happen, they make us think about something. They make us feel something. There's something that the director or the writer or the poet is trying to make us touch on and think about, and then maybe apply to our own lives or think about how it fits into the world around us, or perhaps produce an emotional response as a result of it. So themes are explored through events or actions in the text. Characters can help to explore or reflect themes in that same way. So what I want you to do is to start by trying to think of some ideas in the text. So ideas can just be one word. They're just things that when you think about Remember the Titans, watched it, you go, well, they're definitely making us think about blank, blank, and blank. So pause this video and try and have a think and write down some ideas. And now I'm assuming you've paused it. You've tried to have a think about them. I'm going to touch on a couple, but these are not a definitive list, which means that there are others out there that might cover the same thing. So when I think about Remember the Titans, I think about racism, adversity. If you don't remember adversity from our last text, adversity is like a struggle, an obstacle, something in the way. Football, friendship, inequality, change, leadership. Some other ones are like brotherhood, determination, those sort of things. So some of them are similar to the written text that we've studied, and some of them are completely different. So you can add those to your list of ideas, and if you've got extra ones, then well done. You can always share them with the class in teams. So pause the video, write down those ideas, and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay. So what I've done is I've selected 5 ideas. And what we want to do is take these ideas and try and make them into sentences. And when they're a sentence, they're a theme. So remember before I said a theme can just be a way of thinking about like a lesson. All right, so it's like a statement. So if we look at the idea of racism, for example, a theme that expands on it is the importance of overcoming racial prejudice. So prejudice means judgment. Racial means like racism or based on race. And overcoming means moving on from or getting over. The influence of racism, the presence of racial prejudice. So suddenly these go from just being a really brief word into becoming a sentence. And you might think that they sound a bit smarter, which they do. So what we really want to try to do is move away from one word ideas and move into sentences because they sound a bit smarter and they work a bit better. I've done one of them for change. So the idea of change in the text. So the lesson I get when I think about change is anyone is capable of change. So that means anyone is able to have a change. So what I want you to try do, and it's going to be a bit tricky because it's a new skill, is to try and take those words and looking at what I've done, try and do the same thing. A really sneaky trick is if you can't think of a way of taking an idea and making it a theme, is you put the words the importance of or the influence of in front of it, and that's a really good starter. So this will probably take you probably 10 minutes to do the 3 that are there. But what I want you to try do in the grid is to come up with some theme sentences. So you take that idea and you make it into a sentence. How do we see it in the text? Remember, cheeky trick is to add the importance of, or the influence of, or even the idea of in front of it. So give that a go, pause this video, and try and see how much of that grid you can get filled in. Okay, I'm assuming you've done that. Here we go. You always knew I'd give you some answers. So these are the ones that I have come up with. So what you can do is pause the video and add to your grid. Now we're coming up with heaps of them because that way we can fit the one that we like, pick the one that we like best, that best fits our knowledge or our understanding. The more we come up with, the more options we have, then the one that we can find fits best. So ultimately, there's probably going to be maybe 2 of these ideas or themes that you understand best and that you can see best in the film. My personal favourite is racism, and then I quite like leadership. And then racism, I think the racism ones are the easiest. But friendship is quite good because I quite like the brotherhood one because I think it shows change. And the adversity one actually is good because that can show change, friendship, racism, and it can show leadership. Yeah. Racism, adversity, friendship, those are the ones I like. But anyway, I'll talk through the theme sentences. So the first idea that you haven't already been exposed to, the theme sentences for adversity, the importance of overcoming adversity. See, the importance of it's a really handy one. The theme of adversity can provoke change. Provoke meaning prompt. Friendship. Good friendships can overcome difficulty. Friendships can change. Friendships can develop in difficult times. And the experience of brotherhood. I think the first one and the last one are probably pretty good. That last one's actually really good because if you say the experience of, then you can talk about good experiences and bad experiences. Because Ray and Gary have really good brotherhood at the beginning, but it's not good for the other players in the team. So that's something to think about. Change. I added 2 more to my change. Change can happen when you do not expect it, and good things come from change. So I think that one works really well. That last one in particular is really good because you can talk about what things are like before change and then how they're bad and then how things change to become good. Leadership, difficulties of leadership, or this one's probably easier, better, works with more, the importance of leadership. And that way you can talk about good examples of leadership from Boone, bad examples from Boone, Yost, Gary, people in the community. So that's really good as well. So I'd say probably those first 3, these ones are probably going to be the easiest to talk about. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this racism one, but you might want to pick one of these ones for the next activity. So pause the video and add those to your grid. It'll take you a couple of minutes, but it's very worthwhile because this will be something you can come back to every time we do theme work and every time we run an essay and blah, blah, blah. Alrighty, give it a pause. Okay, I'm assuming you've done a pause and we're back in business. Let's go. So what I want you to do, your task, is to pick a theme that is not racism. Pick an idea, a theme. Okay, start with that. I've just put it there because it was helpful for me to have those themes next to it. So you're going to pick one of them. So it could be one of these ones, or it could be one that you came up with yourself. Okay, so you're going to pick one of them. And then what you're going to do is list as many events as you can. So events are scenes or actions, moments in the text, which explore the idea of racism. Sorry, so you're going to do it on your theme. I've done mine on racism. So these were a couple that I thought showed racism. So when Emma, so that's Gary's girlfriend, won't shake Julius's hand, and then the scene later in the film where she does, because it shows her overcoming racial prejudice. The bus ride to camp. You could talk about the bus ride home from camp. Gary and Julius fight at camp. I've often called that with my classes before the water fountain scene because they're by a water fountain. The run to Gettysburg. The locker room scene is really important. It shows them overcoming it. Gary kicking Ray off the team. and the hospital scene, which is where Julius comes in to visit Gary. So that's your first step. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick an idea, theme, whatever, one of those ones or one of your own ones. You're going to list as many events as you can that you think show that. Okay, take a pause. That's what you're going to do. Not going to do the racism one. I've done that for you. You're going to do it yourself. Okay. Now you've done that. If you haven't, pause the video, go and do it. All right, so assuming you have now listed all your events, what you're going to do is pick 2 scenes, 2 of your scenes. So you look right there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 scenes, and I talked about bus ride home, and I talked about the other ones, technically 10. Okay, pick 2 scenes. Okay, and pick one of your themes. So one of these sentences. So I picked that first one because it was the easiest for me. So if you picked adversity, you might take that first one. That's pretty easy. If you pick friendship, you might take that last one. If you pick change, you might be able to do that last one. That's quite easy. From there, that last one's quite easy. So you've done this, you've listed the events. You're going to pick 2 of those scenes and one of your themes. And you're going to explain how that scene shows that theme. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here, which I have chosen the theme on the importance of overcoming racial prejudice. And I've chosen the Gettysburg Cemetery scene and the hospital scene. So I'm going to talk you through, this is what you're going to do. Okay, the exact same thing. The run to Gettysburg Cemetery helps to show the theme of the importance of overcoming racial prejudice because Coach Byrne is trying to force the boys to realize the importance of their actions, I should say, and how damaging their racism and hate can be. This is because he shows them what happened through racism and hate in America's past with the Civil War. So I have 2 sentences there explaining how that scene shows that theme. And then with another one, the hospital scene helps to show the theme because we can see what good things happen when the boys are able to overcome racial prejudice. Now, Gary and Julius can be there for each other like brothers and not be focused on hate, but love and friendship instead. So you were going to do that same process. Right? So this is all of the notes in one form. You're going to pick a different theme. You're going to list all the scenes you can think of. Then you're going to pick 2 of those scenes and explain how that scene shows that theme. Okay, so how that scene shows that theme. Should have E there. Terrible English teacher. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. If you haven't done this first part, make sure you're going to pause it now and do that. So I've done that before. 1 to 3 sentences explaining. Okay, 1's basic, that's all you need. I did 2, 3 helps with detail. So that's the aim. Give that a go. Here are some extension options. If you have finished that early and feel like you want to try a bit harder. So first, what you're going to do is do the explanation part for another 2 scenes. Another thing you can do is watch the scenes again, the ones that you've explained. Try and find something you can see or hear, a film technique in that scene that helped to explore the theme. You can complete the same task, but for a different theme. So that way you've got notes on 3 different themes. Or try and write an essay paragraph on a significant theme and why it was significant. So we've gone back through essay paragraphs a little bit with the Gary and Julius relationship. So now you're going to try to give that a go with theme. Okay, there's some extension options. Don't have to do them if your brain's a bit dead, but they are something you can do to extend yourself. Awesome. Have a good time.